Hi everyone, welcome back to T-TiME. Today we'll be talking about bereavement through suicide, and we are honoured to be joined by Eddie Dalton. Hi Eddie, you've kindly agreed to share your story of bereavement through the loss of your son Shane, who died by suicide.
Hi James, yeah, that's right. I'm hoping that this video will give people a better understanding of how people cope with the grief and the loss of a loved one.
Claire, I'm wondering if you can tell us what bereavement or grief is.
Many things outside of death can cause grief, including a marriage or relationship breakdown. So you may feel shock, disbelief, guilt, anger, fear, and obviously sadness. These are very normal signs of grief, and we'll discuss coping mechanisms later on in the video.
Eddie, you've lived through this. Could you start by telling us a little bit about Shane?
Certainly, Shane's a 23-year-old young man who's just qualified as an electrician. He was very much into going to sports, going to matches, just generally a bubbly type of personality. Heading off to Australia to look and see the world, which of course I would encourage as a father.
Can you tell us a little bit about when you noticed changes in Shane's behaviour?
Yes, about 6 or 8 weeks being in Australia and doing all the usual stuff, the Skype and phone calls back and forth, noticed there was something different. He wasn't as enthusiastic and he wasn't as bubbly as he would normally be. But after again another week or two, noticed there was something going on again. Anyway, we got a dreaded phone call, at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday from Australia. And as soon as I got there, I knew Shane wasn't right. This was more than homesick, and so anyway, we decided to get a flight home. So we brought him to the local hospital and Shane was admitted as a voluntary patient. So I picked him up on the Saturday before Christmas, and his favourite team was Liverpool. And of course Liverpool were playing that Saturday afternoon and I had to endure watching that with him. But he had no enthusiasm whatsoever watching the match, and I was trying to make conversation with him and there was just nothing happening. So it wasn't our Shane. So that evening, myself and my wife decided we'd just go down the road and we'd just get out for an hour. We came back and my wife found Shane sort of lying on his bed. It was on the 24th December that Shane actually died.
Eddie, I'm very sorry for your loss, but thank you very much for sharing. So, how did you deal with your bereavement in the early days versus how you're dealing now?
Oh, in the early days, it was very difficult. There was a lot of shock and disbelief. We couldn't believe that this would happen to our bubbly, enthusiastic son. The sadness was always there. The thoughts are always there. But we had a good circle of friends. We had family. We had Shane's friends. How do we cope? I suppose the best analogy I can give you would be it would be like if somebody decided to do hill climbing or walking and they would carry a knapsack, and a knapsack would weigh the same amount every time they walk, right? But as the more walks they do and the more journeys they take, the knapsack doesn't get any lighter. We just get stronger. And that's how I feel that we deal with our bereavement now, that we have just got stronger.
That's some really great advice to give to somebody who's been bereaved. What advice would you give to somebody who's suicidal? That
there is hope there. There's always somebody to go to. It doesn't have to be a counsellor or a clinician. It can be a family member, it can be a friend, it can be a neighbour. The despair and the destruction that's left after people lose a loved one, right, is irreversible. You cannot turn around and change that.
Thank you, Eddie, for sharing your story with us, and thank you on behalf of our viewers. Claire, bereavement through suicide can be devastating, but there is help out there through counselling and through your GP. But there are also things that you can do for yourself during this time. Can you tell us a bit about them?
Yeah. When you're grieving, it's more important than ever to look after yourself. So things like eating and sleeping when you can. So be sure to face and express your feelings in order to heal. So you could write about your loss in a journal or write a letter to your loved one. You could even make a scrapbook or a photo album to celebrate the person's life. Make sure you don't let anyone tell you how to feel, nor should you tell yourself how to feel. Your grief is your own and no one else can tell you when to move on or get over it. And lastly, be aware of grief triggers such as anniversaries, holidays and birthdays.
Thank you, Claire. And once again, thank you, Eddie. It's important to say that if you are bereaved, that there are people and organisations who can help.
So we've mentioned the importance of your GP and counselling, but it's also good to have strong support networks like your friends and family.
But there are also resources like the Samaritans and Pieta House. If you would like more information on this topic or any of the other topics covered in T-TiME, you can visit www.3ts.ie. Please subscribe for more content like this every week and give a thumbs up if you found the video helpful. Until next week, that's us. Bye.